Thank you, Mother, Father, God. Thank you, Archangels and Ascended Masters, for the perfect grace, perfect clarity, and perfect peace that is here for each of us and all of us right now. If we could just instantly breathe into Archangel Michael, encircling you with love. And if there's a visual to the circle of love, it might be a really beautiful blue, like a lilac blue. If we could just notice that circle, and that circle might be 2 feet around you, 5 feet, 10 feet, 20 feet, 100 feet. If you could just notice for yourself the width of that circle of love around you, and letting Archangel Michael hold that space for you with perfect love, with perfect grace, with perfect ease. So we'll just gently breathe into that as we thank the presence of Mother, Father, God, and all the archangels and ascended masters. We thank as well the angelic realm, the elemental realm, our ancestors, spirit guides, animal guides, and guardian angels. We celebrate perfect peace. We celebrate incredible good. And we know that wonderful wisdom is here. We celebrate recovery. We celebrate health. We celebrate healing. We celebrate wholeness. We recognize all these things are already here right where we are right now. And we celebrate the acknowledgement of that fact, the enhancement of that fact, and anything that can be healed even more, repaired even more, acknowledged even more, and wisdom being activated in all ways in mind, body, spirit, and emotion, and the wisdom of help, the wisdom of the angels, the wisdom of our souls, merging, intertwining, integrating into a space of tremendous peace and wonderful love here right now. So we'll just gently breathe in. And as we breathe, if we could just gently adopt that first mudra, which is the index finger and the thumb, and we could just have your hands either held up or resting on your knees or in your lap. And we'll just feel that connection between the thumb and the index finger. We'll just notice that connection being made. And we'll notice the brilliance of your body. And let's breathe in like it's your very first breath. And let's do that repeatedly, just breathing in like it's your first breath. And we'll notice, this is Michael's words, there's no pressure to breathe, that we are free to breathe and there's plenty of oxygen. So we'll just gently breathe into all that. And we'll very simply continue to just breathe in and breathe out. And let's indeed just add the awareness of breathing in like it's your very first breath. So noticing how good it feels to breathe. And if we could notice the blue circle of love that Archangel Michael has placed around you, and if we could just notice, be it conscious, unconscious, physical, emotional, mental, energetic, that you have room to breathe. That the space exists for you to thrive. And as we continue to breathe, if we could just simply add and elegantly add, after the inhale, we're going to just breathe in and then pause for a moment. And then exhale. And we'll pause. And then inhale. And with these graceful, elegant actions, the mudra, the breath, the blue circle of love, the presence of Archangel Michael, your presence here right now in this held space, we'll just notice all these things adding up to a change in perception and to an awareness of who you actually are and what's available. So we'll just gently breathe into all that as we let these elements continue to help us and to intertwine and integrate the mudra, the breath, the circle of love, the color blue, and Archangel Michael. And, says Archangel Michael, this is enough. This is enough. That we don't need to strive for more right now. That it is enough to be present, to breathe, to have a beautiful awareness of oxygen and how good it feels to breathe. And we'll notice that there's plenty of oxygen for everyone, that our needs are met, that this planet and this universe are designed to support us. And that it's okay for incredibly good things to happen right now. So we'll just gently breathe in. And into, or in addition to the calm established, if we could just very gently shift the mudra to all 5 fingertips, all 10 fingertips, connecting, and just noticing how you want to hold your hands. And perhaps just noticing where your hands want to be placed as you do that. And if we could just notice that, your 10 fingertips connecting. And we'll take a moment to notice what that physically feels like. Perhaps the warmth of your fingers. The energy, your energy, the energy cultivated, the energy connected. The blue circle of love. So we'll just gently breathe in. And we'll say some things out loud, starting with your own name. I am Mark. I'm not anybody else. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for being with me right now. Thank you, Archangel Michael, for helping me in every part of my life right now. I am aligned with love. I'm thrilled to be alive. I trust good. I welcome more good into my life. My body is built for good. I thrive in every area of my life. I release all restrictions. I embrace positive expansion. I am peace. I am peaceful. I allow my thoughts to be positive. I welcome perfect healing in every part of my life. I celebrate perfect healing in every part of my life. I am right on time. I acknowledge the circle of love. I acknowledge my breath. I acknowledge my body on this planet. I am seen and heard. I am surrounded by love. I am right on time. So just gently breathe into that. Wonderful. So we'll just gently breathe in. And perhaps doing whatever feels best for your hands, either maintaining the mudra or letting it go. And if we could just gently breathe in and just notice yourself right where you are, in the chair you're sitting in, the sofa, the armchair, the bed, wherever you are, however you are. If we could just gently breathe into Archangel Michael being with you, and Archangel Michael being very relaxed and very jolly, very happy. And if we could notice Archangel Michael, his word procuring for you a gift, which might be a lollipop, might be a rose. Just notice there being a gift with a splash of color, like the red of a rose or the red or orange of a lollipop or the green. So we'll just breathe in. Maybe taffy. We'll just breathe in. And whether we see him, feel him, hear him, and know that he's there, if we could just notice Archangel Michael's eyes upon you, and them being the eyes of love. So we'll just notice Archangel Michael with his vision, with his gaze, and with his hands, perhaps his hands hovering near your body or occasionally touching your body. If we could just breathe in and notice Archangel Michael focusing his hands and his attention on the top of your head. So we'll just gently breathe in, and we'll notice the enhancement of the crown chakra and the cleansing of the crown chakra. So only good, only good, only good flows. Unconditional love flowing into your body, around your body, into your physical body, mental body, emotional body, and spiritual body. And we'll notice Archangel Michael releasing any tension anywhere in your head and skull, including releasing any tension in your brain and infusing your physical brain with freedom and movement and pliability and flexibility, and releasing any stiffness from your thinking or stiffness from your brain, releasing any tension in your thinking. And we'll let Archangel Michael do all that for you. And we'll notice Archangel Michael praising your brain. How brilliant you are, how brilliant your consciousness is, how brilliant your dreams and desires are, how beautiful your thoughts are, how majestic your consciousness is. And Archangel Michael is making the correlation between spiritual work and being a musician, of the refinement, the eloquence, that dedication and repetition and practice bring. Wonderful. If we can notice Archangel Michael very gently and with the energy of a whisper, moving his hands and his attention to your face and starting with your forehead, releasing any tension from your forehead, including your brow, including your third eye. Releasing any tension in or around your eyes and the mechanism of sight, which would go to the back of your brain. And in an era where we do see a lot of images, we'll just notice Archangel Michael releasing any strain from your eyesight and letting your pristine and pure vision emerge. So we'll just gently breathe into that. We'll notice there being peace in your jaw. And a loving unwinding of any tension in your jaw. And with a beautiful sense of expansion and some closure, if we could just notice any old energy moving out of your jaw, out of your mouth, out of your teeth, out of your tongue, off your tongue, and away. And we'll notice that there's more room to speak words of love to yourself, to others, and to the universe. There's more room for intentions, including a peaceful planet and peaceful lives, and having all of our needs met and exceeded. That we're releasing perhaps some old layers of tension around speaking about what we want and what would be great. And so we'll notice Archangel Michael very gently touching your chin. And we'll notice some vertical energy moving up through your face, which would include your mouth, your lips, your nose, the bridge of your nose, your third eye, your brow. And we'll just notice, like the sensation of a paintbrush moving, we'll just notice color, perhaps the blue, perhaps some white or other colors. We'll just notice there being a release of tension. We'll let the facades fall away, and mainly in that the facades placed on us or projected on us like social masks. You're this. Let that fall away and recognize that we choose to be engaged and enlightened. We choose to live good lives. We've all been through a lot, and it's safe for the good part to not only be here, but to be engaged and embraced, and to recognize that you are not alone, that we are not alone. And that you are loved. Wonderful. So we'll just gently breathe into that. And we'll notice Archangel Michael with his elegant hands moving energy, including moving off of your shoulders the weight of the world, moving away from your neck any inflexibility or limitation, and moving energy off of your arms, off of your forearms and shoulders. We'll notice these gestures that Michael's making with both of his hands over both shoulders and your neck. We'll just notice old weight, old energy being lifted off and freedom being found. So we'll just gently breathe into all that. Wonderful. If we can notice Archangel Michael seeing with his eyes that your spine is pristine and in flow, and that your back is free, including your lower back, that you are supported. And we'll let Archangel Michael, with a wave of his hands, reinvigorate the entirety of your back and reinforce the truth that he has your back. So releasing or replacing the idea of vulnerability with strength. And we'll notice Archangel Michael doing the same to the front of your body, enhancing your heart, acknowledging your heart, acknowledging the spaces where your heart has been or is bruised, and healing your heart and praising your heart. So we'll just gently breathe in. And we'll just notice, this is similar to what we did with breathing before. We'll just notice with the circle of love and all this dedicated attention from Archangel Michael, we'll notice that it's safe for your heart to expand. It's safe for your heart to receive more love. It's safe for you to be loved. And it's safe for you to love. And let's do that 1%, maybe a little more, but 1%'s fine. 1%'s enough. Wonderful. We'll notice the freedom in your lungs, the freedom to breathe. We'll notice the magnificence of all the different systems, including the digestive system all that goes into that system working perfectly, being free. Anything that could use some healing, having that healing. And if we could feel Archangel Michael not only encouraging, but being grateful for all these systems, your digestive system, your reproductive system, your nervous system, your immune system, your circulatory system, your respiratory system, your system of senses, your structural system of bones and muscles and tendons and ligaments and nerves, the magnificence that is your body and your being, all of that being praised. And we'll just breathe in with gratitude for the entirety of our bodies and the entirety of our consciousness, the entirety of our awareness. So we'll just gently breathe into all that. And we'll notice Archangel Michael acknowledging your joints and structural system, acknowledging your hips, acknowledging the magnificence of your reproductive system and system of elimination, and letting those parts have light shine on them and warmth be present. The center of your being is acknowledged, the center of your being is strong, the center of your being is safe. So we'll just breathe into all that. And we'll notice your legs, your knees, your feet, your hands, you. So we'll just gently breathe in. And if we could just gently add, and this will be completely unique for everyone, maybe a gentle tapping somewhere on your body. And this could be our rhythm. We'll just notice that, like, what feels good? And as we do this in whatever rhythm, and maybe it's just caressing your body or lightly tapping your body, we'll just notice the magnificence of your fingers, the magnificence of your collarbones, the magnificence of your legs, the magnificence of your knees and your head, the magnificence and brilliance of your face. We'll just notice what is the touch that your body wants or what feels good. And this may be speaking to an unconscious part that it's okay to receive touch. It's okay to touch ourselves. It's okay to acknowledge our bodies. It's okay to acknowledge that we exist. It's okay for more peace to happen. It's okay to soothe ourselves. It's okay to be soothed. It's okay to be acknowledged. So we'll just gently breathe into all that. And maybe we'll just do some very gentle stretching. Maybe the neck, And we'll notice what a good job you're doing. And what a good job your body is doing. And what a good job your heart is doing for decades. And what a good job your consciousness is doing. What a good job your hands are doing. What a good job your wisdom is doing. And how brave you are to strive to have your heart open, to strive to learn more, to strive to heal. That these things are brave. And that you are not alone and you are acknowledged. And good job. And that we are doing this together. So we'll just gently breathe into all that. Wonderful. So we'll just notice the blue circle of love. And we'll notice yourself. Let's notice you in space, in the atmosphere that you're in with Archangel Michael. And that you have you. And that you are loved. So we'll just notice, be it with gentle touch, gentle acknowledgement. We'll notice the changes that have happened, the changes that are here, the healing that has happened, and the enhancements. And with all this and to all this, with wonderful grace and wonderful clarity, we'll say out loud, thank you. And we'll say out loud, thank you, Archangel Michael. And with beautiful grace and wonderful peace and a sense of honor and continuation, we thank the presence of Mother, Father, God, and all the archangels and ascended masters. We thank as well the angelic realm, the elemental realm, our ancestors, spirit guides, animal guides, and guardian angels. We celebrate wonderful peace, great tranquility, and incredible good being here right now as we celebrate our lives and how good life is. And with peace and harmony and joy, we continue, we acknowledge, we relax, we heal, we integrate, and we celebrate. And we ask for this or something better right now in all directions of time, and so it is. Okay, wonderful. Good work, everyone. We'll just breathe in here for a moment. I'll take a few moments here just to check in. Melanie, how's that feel to you?
Very calming.
Mm-hmm.
Feel myself relaxing after I'd taken the first few deep breaths, and I guess I didn't realize how much I needed to be calmed down until I was calmer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I get a little nervous before these to
I
do some
understand.
public speaking, so it's nice to have a moment to really just be in the body and relax.
Indeed. Yeah. I'm just honoring you for working the muscle of public speaking and holding space. Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. Does anyone else want to share how they're feeling right now? Or share their experience? September, do you want to share anything?
I knew you were going to call on me.
Because you're unmuted, September, which indicated to me that there's something to say.
Oh, I'm like, I don't know if I have anything to share, but I know he's going to call on me.
Oh, there it is.
You know, no, I always feel relaxed, and I really love the blue Archangel Michael and the blue circle of love
Yeah.
a lot.
Good.
I really like that. I could see it, I could feel it, and that was just it was just something, just what I needed.
Good.
Yeah.
I think that the main thing that happens with moments like that with the angels when they're very specific about something is it does let us remember that we are not alone and that we are seen and heard and cared for. And that
Yes.
the angels always enhance, they add. Yeah.
Thank you.
Um, Wonderful. Great. Wonderful. Yeah, you're welcome, Sabrina. Just going to read what Sabrina wrote. So much of what you touched on feels applicable to my life and the moment in healing that I'm working through. Thank you for bringing attention to all that. You're welcome. That's the goal, is that every part of us gets acknowledged. And with to segue, that with the chapter that we're working with, that Melanie and I read and discussed, chapter 13 is about healing from trauma, owning the self, owning yourself, basically coming into a space of recovery. So we're just going to cover a few things. Melanie has prepared some sections. Melanie, do you want to share some of that?
Yes.
Mhm.
So in chapter 13, um, starting right off on that very first page, which is page 205, if you have the book, it is trauma robs you of the feeling that you are in charge of yourself. The challenge of recovery is to reestablish ownership of your body and your mind, of yourself. This means feeling free to know what you know and to feel what you feel without becoming overwhelmed, enraged, ashamed, or collapsed. So, how does this passage then inform our approach to recovery? What does it mean to feel free to know what you know and feel what you feel?
Um, the main thing that I find in the spiritual work is to acknowledge that you exist. That you actually do exist. And in the different forms of trauma, there is a layer, especially with any kind of abuse, where in essence you don't exist. And in the healing of the planet that is happening actively now, it is the awareness which has some resistance to it that everyone does matter. And that we can't dismiss other people, we can't dismiss parts of ourselves. That's not working for anyone. So, with what is said here, is the space where we do acknowledge the fullness of ourselves, which is part of what we just did, is seeing how rapidly we can change, which is, the mudra and the breath. That did a lot, didn't it? There's those two things, or there's the breath by itself does a lot too. Yeah. So getting into a space of to reestablish ownership of your body and your mind, and that we do have a say in our own lives. And that may sound obvious, but that is something that can be a unique thought, that we do have a say in what happens, because often we are dictated to from a young age. So that autonomy, that agency is very important.
Well said.
Thank you.
So, we're going to be just going over a few pages because there's just so much in this chapter.
There was a ton.
There's a ton. So on the next page, 206, in the A New Focus for Recovery section, it says, in order to regain control over yourself, you need to revisit the trauma. Sooner or later, you need to confront what has happened to you, but only after you feel safe and will not be re-traumatized by it. The first order of business is to find ways to cope with feeling overwhelmed by the sensations and emotions associated with the past. And then from page 207, understanding why you feel a certain way does not change how you feel. but it can keep you from surrendering to intense reactions. So, how do we move beyond the first step of recognition, which is a very important step? But how do we move beyond that and towards active integration? And maybe you could talk a bit about what it means to integrate trauma and other parts of ourselves.
Yes. The main thing, this is something I've learned by doing this trauma work personally, is there's a sequence to things. And it's trusting the sequence, which is to acknowledge that happened or those things happened, which is a big deal because we have in our coping, especially as children, to get by, we might have diminished our pain. But coming back to, wow, that happened. And that need not be overwhelming. The whole point of this is, and this, I think this works out elegantly. Essentially, as we get older, these things come up at the perfect moments to be healed. And it's just seeing that there is an elegance to that. And the physical, there's two things with this. There's not like any rules, but there's a logic to when things come up age-wise. And it's a seeing then of what is ready to move, what's happening in our brains, what's happening in our bodies as we progress, that the tension has to be solved. And so there is a system to that is helpful to recognize that your body knows how to move these energies. And it's getting on board with what mechanisms work for us to move. And I'm going to kind of hop ahead a little bit, sorry, Melanie, to our next thing. We're going to get to like yoga and movement, which is just seeing like what movement feels good to us. Yoga is very good for trauma. In the book, he does land on that as a major healing source, but to see how we can, if trauma makes us stiff in essence, how can we break out of that with any kind of movement or expression? And just seeing what works for us, but to see that what might feel overwhelming at points are moments of breakthrough, which, to come back to the previous point, where we actually do recognize that we exist and that we have autonomy and it's okay for us to solve things.
Yes. I've definitely had experiences personally where I have started to become aware of I am upset, this is why I'm upset, but that doesn't stop me from feeling upset. And usually I need to allow myself to feel it. Kind of going back to that, we need to feel free to know what we know and feel what we feel. I've had to learn about myself that just acknowledging you're upset for this reason, this is what's setting you off, doesn't just immediately stop the emotions. I have to allow them to feel that. And often for me, that is a more physical expression of emotion, whether that's crying or screaming, whatever it is, that needs to be done.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. 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 All the sobbing in therapy. But these things can move. Is just recognizing, we talked about this last week with Trisha, the education expert visionary, of the necessity of letting emotion happen,
Mhm.
and just seeing where it's okay for things to move, but who we are after that, and what changes in our brains, what rewires, and what we know about ourselves. But in essence, for probably most everyone here, we've had an absence of a voice, and to have a voice that says like, no, that was wrong, or no, that will never happen again, or no, that was really messed up. That's an important voice to have. And it's valid. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, Melanie.
Yes.
Mhm.
So let's see. The next quote is from the same page, 207, near the bottom of the page. And it's recovery from trauma involves the restoration of executive functioning and, with it, self confidence and the capacity for playfulness and creativity. So, could you speak a bit about playfulness and kind of how it allows us to both experience joy and our present self and be present, but also sort of to offer, I guess, healing for the creativity or playfulness we didn't get to have as a child or that was stunted?
Yeah, usually it's interrupted. And I mean, I've done this before in groups like this with a lot of people here, like who didn't have a childhood? And, who didn't have a childhood? You know, and it's most everyone here. And it's coming back to what was missed and how can we reintegrate, which is the by choice doing things that are creative. And the simple thing that I offer people is to just move color on a page, not try to create a masterpiece or a drawing, but to move color on a page, or to actually play, to maybe go to a playground and get on the swing and give your younger self some airtime. But just recognizing that it's okay. And the thing that is in the way of those impulses is terror or dread or hypervigilance. The idea that if you drop your guard, calamity is going to happen. And it is recognizing, I know these things overlap and could be repetitious, but they're important, which is to know that you are safe at certain moments. And in that safety, I'm on the third floor of my aunt's townhouse. I hear her, she's watching a movie. The door is locked, there's an alarm, all this stuff. So I know that I'm safe. And I could, in that space of safety, allow myself to be honest, allow myself to draw or to sing or to play music, and to let something different happen. And it's recognizing those things did, as you said, Melanie, get interrupted. And it's recognizing it's okay for us and essential to bring those things back. So we do have freedom, and that in itself is a healing. But with that sentence, recovery from trauma involves the restoration of executive functioning, which is choice. Like, hey, I'm going to take time to play, which is executive functioning. What got missed? Let's have a corrective experience. And also, sometimes having people to play with, to be creative with. Yeah. Thank you.
And then the final quote, which you were jumping ahead to, is from page 209.
Mhm.
And it's a long one, but I'll read it out here. So, I need to stress the fact that we have a host of inbuilt skills to keep us on an even keel. Emotions are registered in the body. Some 80% of the fibers of the vagus nerve, which connects the brain with many internal organs, are afferent. That is, they run from the body into the brain. This means that we can directly train our arousal system by the way we breathe, chant, and move, a principle that has been utilized since time immemorial in places like China and India, and in every religious practice that I know of, but that is suspiciously eyed as alternative in mainstream culture. In research supported by the National Institute of Health, my colleagues and I have shown that 10 weeks of yoga practice markedly reduced the PTSD symptoms of patients who had failed to respond to any medication or to any other treatment. So, as spiritual people, what does this mean for us?
That maybe, and this is also something that's already present with being spiritual people, that we move past social norms, which is to recognize the importance of our bodies being engaged. What, in just being clear, in the quote that Melanie read, he's responding to the fact that the standard thing in Western culture is to give people drugs to solve these issues, which mainly numb. They might help with serotonin and such, but to see, his point is that we have a lot of mechanisms in place, that can help us, that we can get our bodies in motion and trust things like breath and meditation and any kind of spiritual work to let more options be on the table, and to recognize where in this book where he lands on yoga as a major healing source, of that it's engaging with every single element of our body. And this need not be like a vigorous yoga class. It could be just doing elements of it, be that even mountain pose, which has an energy to it and connecting with the earth, or child's pose, or any kind of the stretches that happen. But to recognize that we're moving energy in a way that is using mind, body, spirit, and emotion. And that it's okay to do things that are different. And what in everything we did in the half hour plus meditation that we did, worked backwards from everything that Melanie and I found here, in terms of why don't we do all these different things? Why don't we use mudras, which are hand yoga? Why don't we do some breathing and do some affirmations and do a body scan to bring awareness to ourselves? And it's perhaps what occurs to me, and also just adding in any kind of rhythm, like a drum circle, reminding us of all the tools that we already have and what is at hand and what does heal. So all those things feel very important, but I think ultimately there's an empowerment here and permission. It's okay for us to do things that make us feel better. And it's okay to have tools that take away the pressure that most of us feel, and to let something different happen. Do you want to add to that, Melanie, or any thought that you have?
I think, oh, sorry, there's a very loud car going by. I don't know
Okay, it's all good.
that, but working at New Renaissance,
Yes.
I was immediately exposed to over 20 different paths, if not more, of religious practices, spiritual practices, all sorts of things. And at first it overwhelmed me, but now I find that it rejuvenates me. It makes me feel like, wow, there's so many options out there. There's I think the important thing is that you don't need to do just one thing. If yoga doesn't work for you, or you only want to do this amount of yoga, there are so many different things and so many different ways that all can build on top of each other. You don't need to become a master at anything. Simply tapping into a lot of these things are just tapping into things that already exist in our body and our consciousness, which I've definitely found very empowering. And the key is to not feel like you need to be doing everything, but allow yourself to do as much or as little as you would like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well said. And also recognizing how personal this is, that there's not a cookie cutter here. That's is whatever works for each of us, whatever works, and that's important. And to recognize that our spirituality is, as individuals, a fingerprint into seeing what resonates. And if it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And the whole point of this holding this space is that tools are available, and perhaps presenting tools and a perspective, that we're not just stuck with trauma, that there are solutions to it. Yeah. Good. Wonderful. So we covered the bases there.
I think so. We got through a few pages of that chapter.
Yeah, this was Melanie and I think similarly. We kind of underlined the same parts. We're like, wow, there's a lot in that recovery chapter. So we're going to cover more of that in our final session next week. So does anyone have anything they want to share, or share how they feel after doing all this and the discussion? Anybody want to share anything?
Mark, this is
Yeah,
Diane.
go ahead, Diane. Yeah.
Yeah, what kind of came up for me, the meditation was great. I came in late in the call, but I could feel very much a centering, because I'm going through a lot of changes and a lot of endings, which is overwhelming.
Mhm.
And I noticed, like, after I did my Pilates class Monday, I felt differently. And then
Mm.
today, I had to say goodbye to another era of life. And a friend of mine is saying to me, well, you just have to go on to the next adventure. Well, it was like I was taken aback by that because it's
Mhm.
not that simple. I mean, because I was telling myself, Diane, it's okay to grieve
Mhm.
and to let those feelings come up.
Mhm.
A lot of am I off course on that? Or I mean, obviously I don't want to get stuck in it, but am I off? Is that kind of what you're saying? Do things that provide it, but also let yourself feel what you're feeling.
Well, the main thing in what I'm hearing you say is okay to honor your feelings. It's okay to honor how you're feeling. And
Yes,
um,
yes,
and most of the counsel we get from friends is to you'll be okay, keep going. Which may not be helpful, but
yeah.
trust that we are progressing. It's okay to feel what you're feeling, but also to put forward maybe in the next moment just intention of what you would like to have happen.
Okay,
And just
okay,
trust that that does a lot. I'm here. I think many of you know I'm in DC because my aunt is going to have a surgery, and we were just an hour ago putting forward intention because she's scared, and it's a big deal. And just putting forward intention that the surgery is going to go super well, and just looking forward to the trip we'll take next year to Italy together. And just having a
oh
goal.
yeah,
Your body have that information, but just seeing where those kind of thoughts have been minimized when we have trauma, the visionary thoughts that were more in survival mode. And it says seeing, this is coming back to the last quote that Melanie read about bringing back executive functioning, which is it's okay
okay,
to put your thumb on the scale, what you would like to have happen.
okay,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. This was great. Yeah.
good. I'm glad. I'm glad. Does anybody else want to share anything? You're a silent and respectful group. So I appreciate that. Did you want to share something, Lori?
I have a quick question, if it's okay.
Go for it.
I could not stay awake after or through the meditation, and then it was just so much. I could just feel it all going in. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm out. I don't know why. It's weird.
Mhm.
Um,
I don't think
my
it's that. Real quick, just to say, I do think why we fall asleep or space out in moments like that is that our bodies are integrating and the mind. It's better to shut down the mind to integrate it rather than try to cognitively do it. So that there is a logic to it. That it's not
mm,
nothing happening, just happening in a different way.
oh, thank you. Yeah, I have this expectation that I should stay sharp. My question is this: I really appreciated the acknowledgement of I don't know, the what do I wish for
Mhm.
aspect having been maybe shut down in many ways.
Mhm.
And my question is, what if it's gotten so distorted that we can't really figure out, or I don't know, feel worthy of or figure out what I wish for next? Or, it's I can vision it and make a vision board, but it doesn't feel real. Like I don't, yeah, I don't exactly know how to ask it, but
I understand exactly what you're saying. Mainly in the answer to that would be it's okay for you to put forward intention that you're happy. And the details need not matter.
mm,
I'm so grateful to be happy every single day. Thank you, angels, for helping me in every part of my life. That may sound vague and it's not, you know. Yeah, Melanie?
Somebody who works here has a sort of affirmation that's kind of general that they say they've used a lot and have passed on to other people who have had great results. And it's universe, please close the doors for me where they need to be closed and open them where they need to be opened, which is vague, but it sends a message of I'm ready to move to the next thing that needs to happen for me. Yeah.
It's also super
thank you.
specific, which is we're done with this, we're moving toward this. Yeah. But yeah, thank you for sharing that, Melanie. It's very, very helpful. That, not to say it doesn't matter, but it's recognizing where, once again, one of the major things we're learning in talking about trauma is it makes everything really small. And for the most part, we've had to be small to deal with it. And it's a seeing in the emergence of becoming big again, which is why everyone's here. And it's a seeing, excuse me, where it's okay for us to have a say and to begin to put things on the table. And a different way to look at that, it's okay to have a preference. That we're used to reacting and we're used to getting by of what we're reacting to. And the shift is into responding rather than reacting. And beyond responding is to intend. So we're just putting things on the table. Thank you for my feeling good every single day.
It's huge. Thank you very much.
Welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, thanks for asking the question. Yeah. Okay, I think we'll let it go there. I really appreciate all of you being here and for your participation. Thanks for having an experience. Want to acknowledge Melanie for being a great co-host and for having great questions and for contributing so much. And we'll do this again next week, which will be the final one in this series. And we're going to continue with a different series shortly after that. Okay. Appreciate all of you being here and for your time and for your attention. And as always, ultimately, we're here to support New Renaissance Bookshop. So be you in Portland, I know some of you are, or not, using their online store and to support them. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate your presence.